Greetings, friends, and welcome to today's dose of inspiration. For the last several days, you guys know that we have been talking about prayer, and we have been looking at the model prayer Jesus gave us when he was asked to teach his disciples how to pray. We're going to go just a little bit deeper on the subject of prayer this week and take the next few days exploring some different aspects of prayer that we didn't cover in that model prayer. I want to direct our attention back to Matthew chapter 6. You will remember that is where we find the Lord's Prayer, or the model Jesus gave us. In that very same chapter, before he laid out the pattern of prayer, Jesus made a very important statement that I find imperative for believers to grasp hold of. In verse number 5, he warns and cautions the disciples about a certain attitude or posture of prayer. Now, I'm not talking about posture as far as physically speaking. I'm talking about the posture of the heart. Jesus addressed a very important issue of pride concerning prayer. Did you know that pride can easily get in the middle of our prayer life? Yes, it absolutely can. In verse number 5, we see Jesus warning the disciples against an attitude that would be proudful and boastful when praying. He told the disciples that the Pharisees and the religious leaders of their day had a habit of wanting to stand on the street corner and boast loud prayer so that they could be seen of men. The posture of their heart was one of pride and not humility. The motivation behind their prayers really was not to seek God in their life. The motive behind their prayer instead was to seek the applause of man. They wanted to look good in the eyes of man. They wanted to appear as more religious than perhaps they really were. That angered Jesus, and it definitely displeased the heart of the Father. Jesus went on to tell his disciples, don't do that. Instead, I want you to make sure that you're not being boastful, that you're not just praying out loud and in obvious places just to have the approval and praise of man. Instead, take your prayers into a quiet place, into the secret moments just between you and God. Wow. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean we can't ever pray a public prayer. Jesus was speaking to the posture of the heart and the motivation behind prayer. So I want to challenge you this week, my friends. As you're learning more about this concept of prayer, be very careful that the posture of your heart is one of humility before God. Be sure that the motivating force behind your prayers is genuine communication with the Father, not the seeking of applause of man. Jesus said, when men applaud you, you already have your reward. But when you will pray in secret and have a right heart attitude, those things that are done secretly will be rewarded openly by the Father, who can reward you greater than any applause of man. Check your motives, my friends. Make sure that your heart is truly seeking God. I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. Until next time, I pray that you will walk in the favor and the blessings of the Lord. See you soon.